Hello, Loveland community. I'm John Espy, Treasurer CFO of Loveland City Schools, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Finance Friday. At Loveland, we believe strongly in transparency and open communication. That's why each Friday we take a few minutes to break down key topics in school finance so that you can feel informed and engaged in the decisions impacting our schools and students. Today, I want to talk about the Fair School Funding Plan and how it affects us here at LCS.
Ohio's Fair School Funding Plan is the state's most recent attempt to make school funding more equitable. Rather than using a one-size-fits-all formula, the plan aims to base state funding on actual cost of educating a student, considering important factors like poverty levels, special education needs, and overall student demographics. The plan is built to ensure the state meets its constitutional obligation to fund education fairly. It also increases per-student funding as the number of economically disadvantaged students rises. That's particularly relevant for us in Loveland, where we're seeing shifts in student needs. With any new formula, there's always a transition period. That's why the state has built-in safety nets, temporary transitional aid, and the formula transition supplement. These ensure that no district, including ours, sees a sudden drop in funding while the new system is phased in. These types of funding were also important for districts like LCS and 183 others currently to support the Fair School Funding Plan, as the formula was not helpful to the districts when it was put in place. The issue is that currently the phase-in for inputs on the state's portion of the formula are lagging, while locally, the valuation increases occur immediately, leading to shifting the burden to our local residents for supporting our schools. As the Treasurer CFO of Loveland Schools, local capacity is one of the most concerning parts of the formula, as it requires Loveland residents to cover 90% of typical students, special education students, gifted students, and until recently, transportation. We are advocating for our community and frequently ask the question, how many 90% can our community members be expected to cover? Of course, not every part of the plan is without debate. Some experts have raised concerns that these built-in guarantees might limit flexibility or create inefficiencies in the long run. But overall, the goal remains clear, to provide a more stable and predictable path forward for funding Ohio schools. For Loveland, this plan allowed for predictability through funding guarantees that were promised to continue when the formula was implemented. But as we enter the biennium budget process currently in the state Senate, there is much uncertainty. One thing is for certain, state funding is a critical component of allowing Loveland schools to meet the needs of our students.
This is just one part of a much larger conversation we're having with our community, one focused on long-term planning stability and ensuring every dollar supports student success. We are working to reject the notion that there have to be winners and losers in school funding, as every student's success in Ohio is important. Next time, we'll take a deeper dive into something called the funding guarantee, a critical provision that ensures districts like Loveland don't see unexpected funding drops year over year. I urge you to visit the Loveland City Schools lobbying webpage and reach out to the Senate Finance Committee about the requests we have put forth, including protecting the critical funding guarantee for LCS and the other 183 affected school districts. Thank you for watching, and as always, we're grateful for your continued partnership and engagement.